it. I think it's time to transition to.
Yeah, I was going to say when you brought up MLB The Show, that is actually a good transition because if you remember, we haven't done this segment in a little bit now. I think the last one we did was, I think we did a little one on something. But
I love that something. We did a little one on something. Oh, it was something for sure.
Definitely something. I forget what it was.
I don't know what it was. Something,
I don't think it was the last one we did, but we did do one of MLB The Show. One of the last ones, last podcast where it was video just Jeff and I, video game wise. It was really the only one we've ever done video game wise of our unofficial official critiques. Obviously, we've done one on the Christopher Nolan Batman series. We did a mini one of Star Wars and Marvel, kind of. Not really.
I don't think we've done one. And then didn't we? I know we've. Matt, was that?
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, it was the Star Wars one. Where we just kind of talked about the whole kind of saga and everything. But again, if you want to check those out, under Cheers Podcast YouTube page, or if this is the video itself, they're probably going to be linked to this video as well.
Somewhere.
Somewhere. But that got me thinking because obviously, if you're a regular of listening to these podcasts, you'll know we've talked many times about this video game, Madden NFL, at least the most recent one of Madden NFL 22. That's the most recent one we've been playing. And it's got me thinking, it's like, we've talked about it so often. I don't think Brian and I, we've talked about our thinking of Madden 22, but we never did an official kind of critique of Madden. And obviously we did. I think we talked a little bit about NHL, at least EA sports wise, when we talked about MLB The Show. But this one we're pretty much just going to stick with just Madden NFL, just as a whole. The most recent one being in 22, but going all the way back. And the reason why I bring it up, and the only reason why I kind of bring this up is because even though he's not on here, and Jeff can kind of attest to this because when you were playing last night, he was still very annoyed because last week, I want to say it was Wednesday, Madden gave Brian the ultimate middle finger. By ultimate, I mean the whole game glitching, having little just mistakes that shouldn't be in the game just happening to him for some reason. Are you playing that small violin over there?
Oh, big time. Sorry,
Brian. But in this game, Brian's off to a kind of quick lead. He gets the touchdown. He's up 7-0. Gets another touchdown. Goes for a second extra point. I want to say he lost connection or something like that on it. So he missed it. He's up 13-0. But early on the first drive, it happens twice in this game, mind you. On the first drive, it's a 3rd and 1. He doesn't get it. He clearly gets a yard. He gets what we both think is a first down, but it's 4th and inches. And on the next play, he easily gets the first down. Later in the game, he has another one where all he has to get is a 4th and 1. He gets it to his running back. His running back gains 1 yard, and it's a turnover on down. So I guess it wasn't 4th and 1. One of the ones I know annoys him the most about that game is there were 2 things. One, me, at one point, he goes to tackle my guy, and when he does, my guy is very clearly down, or what we appear to think he is down, but he gets back up and runs another 3 yards.
I'll interject here. At least it wasn't like for a touchdown.
Yes, but I was still on my 10-15 yard line. I was backed up deep, pretty much. And if this doesn't happen, I'm more than likely punting. And the game, the reason why I was a middle finger, because anytime Brian would get close or take the lead or tie it or whatever, something else happened, just glitch-wise. One glitch happened that made me tied up late was a defensive breakdown. I had a guy breaking up, just going straight, and there was 2 guys just let him open and I got a touchdown off it. And then we go to overtime, and 20 seconds before that.
Oh God, this play.
This is a play that Brian was still annoyed about today. It's Monday of the following week, mind you, of the recording of this podcast. And Jeff can attest to this last night. Is he still annoyed by that loss, Jeffrey? Was he still annoyed?
Maybe.
So
yeah,
he does his usual kind of juke where it's kind of not a juke, where he just kind of hesitates for a second.
It's the one where he looks like he's going towards the left and jukes,
and then he just and for some reason he doesn't even go close to being down, and he beats my guy pretty clearly, where he's pretty much on his own to get a clear touchdown with 20 seconds left in the game, and the game calls him down. He's nowhere close to being down.
I wish he took a video of it, because I just love to see it.
I know. I wish it was one of those things where I had the Xbox every once in a while. I could record what's going on in the games or whatever. I don't think I have that set up right now with Madden, so I don't think that clip was.
Can you view replays in Madden or online?
Not online, but if you did this game, before, I remember it being this. If you had a highlighted play on the bottom of the screen, it would be highlighted clip or this clip or something like that. Gotcha. Highlighted.
Well, it's I feel like you should be able to look, because again, you can't challenge online.
No.
With that being said, you should have the right to look at the replay no matter what.
No, you can't do that either. You can't show replays. The only time you can show a replay is if you're both not choosing a play yet and it's just replaying the previous play.
Well, that's already one critique I have.
Yes, but obviously he doesn't get any farther and the game goes to overtime. In overtime, I think I started with the ball and I drive down and score a touchdown and end up winning.
Love it.
And Brian was very annoyed about that game. And ever since about a week and a half, say 2 weeks ago, it seems Brian and I, again, another close game. It was going to be tied. Easily going to be tied. Brian scored our last kind of second touchdown. It was 14-13. He was going for a extra point. And his game lags and he loses connection and misses the extra point, and I win by 1. And ever since that game, it appears every time, and Brian will 1,000%, if he was on right now, he would 1,000% be verifying everything I'm saying right now.
He would be cursing out Madden.
Oh, so that's a funny thing. I will say, I'll come back to that. There was a funny thing that happened the day after, if not 2 days after. Not after that one, after the game I was just talking about. It was Dolphins Chargers. He was Dolphins, I was Chargers.
But
ever since that game, Brian's been a little off in Madden. Earlier, I kind of ran for 200 yards for the first time in a long time, and he was the Bucks. I was the Bills, and that's the team I struggled probably the most with.
Props to you, sir.
Yes.
I will say, so that's already a few critiques I have of the game.
But again, but ever since then, more glitches and stuff like that. But I do have a theory on that. And going back to what I was going to say before, the day or so after, Brian was telling me how he was trying to find on Instagram a Madden account, and he couldn't find it until we were on, and he found it, and he just messaged, "Fix your shit." And the only reason why I went on because I wanted to ask him a question, saying, did they respond to that?
I would love to know. That's amazing. Fix your shit. But no, and that's the thing, is because you know how games are.
Also this too, and this is
quite a bit
big,
So it's why can't they update this? I understand if from time to time you might get a small glitch if you lose connection.
Yeah, connection is a different thing because it depends on your connection, live, and everything.
Brian's lost more connection than either of us combined.
Oh, easily.
And
it's not I've had one game where the connection was really bad, where it was affecting me in plays, but every other time where I've had a connection issues, it's if I'm choosing a play or something like that, or the play just ended. For him, it's in the middle of a play. It just randomly stops.
Yeah,
Or if he just hikes the ball, he loses connection.
He's dead. There is one time where I pummeled his QB and I took it for a fumble recovery for a touchdown because he lost connection. We were on the phone and he's like, wait, what? I was like, sorry, bro, I'm going for a touchdown. He's like, wait, what? How? I'm like, I destroyed your QB. He goes, oh yeah, I lost connection. Oh God. So there's, but again, the game has, just with any other game, they should have updates. No, right?
You would think.
You would think. I don't know how often
Now,
they like EA update. Like, I know for NHL they update their game. I don't know how often, but every couple of weeks, maybe every.
But if people have listened to our podcast for a long time, have known my issue with EA Sports and NHL, so you have an idea of where I may be going with this game.
Tripping, penalties. Am I in the ballpark?
Just to name a few.
I love it.
But
I will say my biggest issue with Madden is there are times, I don't know if it's online, I don't know if it's to make the game realistic, I don't know what. But there are times when I quickly press X, for example, and throw the ball to X, and it goes 5 feet the opposite way. He's nowhere even, my guy isn't even close to being.
Yeah, I've had that issue.
I don't know if that's an online thing or what.
No, that's just a Madden general thing. I've had that.
Right?
I've had that issue when I've played Brian online. I've had that issue when I've played Brian in person. So that's just the product of the game.
Yeah. So that's one of my biggest issues.
That's also kind of depending on quarterback too. Also, there's the potential you could try to lean, throw ahead of the quarterback a little bit. So if you're a little bit more with the analog stick, there's a chance. Or the one play where it happened more is if you're running with a non-mobile kind of quarterback or throw it back foot, it happens a little more that way.
Gotcha.
That's a slight little defense I'm going to give to Madden, because this game, if it wasn't for me playing Brian or me playing you occasionally, I would not be getting another Madden game. I'll just put it out there, just straight up.
Yeah.
Because this game is just way too buggy. Way too buggy. And if you can go anywhere online, that's just a consensus everywhere. This game just has issues.
There are, it just, and that's what blows my mind.
Brian sends us videos probably every other day now of some Instagram account of some video of some hack or whatever, and we make a joke, and it's no longer becoming a joke of Madden just hates Brian for some reason.
It really does.
And it's so glitchy and it's so easy to fix. And I don't know if it's just because there's no real competition, that they've had it since forever. Because I was looking it up earlier just because I was curious of how long the game came out. So Madden came out, at least John Madden Football first came out in 89. When EA came around and got it or wherever, that was about, I think, 90. Yeah, 1990 was the first one where EA really took
they've
over.
Been around for 32 years.
Since 32 years at least, you should be able to make slight updates every time to your game. And it's not like a recent issue. Like, I remember years ago, back, I guess 04 it must have been, when Vic was on the cover. Vic was such a cheat code because he was like a 99 overall that you couldn't do anything defensively to stop him.
No.
That the next year,
it's like in Family Guy when Peter.
That was another very infamous video game of that same kind of thing. A slight glitch. Yeah, but you couldn't either catch him or you couldn't bring him down because he was just 99, had a great speed.
Yeah.
But Madden the next year, because everyone complained about that, went defensive and put Ray Lewis on the cover, and they went more defensive in their game. So they put more things to help the defense and everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know why back then you can make the fixes, but right now you
No
barely
clue.
make any changes to your game.
Couldn't say. And that's the biggest complaint when it comes to EA for NHL video games in general. Very few people actually enjoy the games. I know I do because I'm just a hockey nut, and I
I only
love
got the most recent one because of Seattle. If Seattle
that.
wasn't in, I would not be getting it.
That's completely fair. That's completely fair. Uh,
Especially when it first came out, because the amount of bugs I had, because I got so annoyed at the fact that whenever you created a team, at least in NHL,
same logos.
Not the same logos. That's just an issue they've had forever. Just a little glitch that they had at the beginning when the game came out.
Oh, I know what you're talking
did
about.
not have names, nameplate, or numbers showing the back of your jerseys. I had no idea why that was an issue.
I actually had the issue of in the stands, the fans, they had the wrong colors on for some jerseys, or no, they would be the right colors, but it'd be the wrong. It would be like the Ducks logo.
Yeah, and I would get so annoyed. I was like, and I would look it up and look at fan boards, stuff like that. And the only thing that would ever come out was, well, this is an issue they're going to fix in the next update. Great. So I can't do anything to fix this. You're saying it's pretty much up in the air if it's going to be up there on it or not.
There are some, yeah. So it's just, but it's like you said, going back to the Madden.
But for Madden, since 89, 90, right around then, since 2022, they've pretty much had the strangle of football. Because obviously baseball 2K had baseball for a while, battling with San Diego Studios with MLB The Show. 2K had NBA, had basketball, but EA also had NBA Live.
Yes.
NHL and Madden, for the most part, haven't really had any other competition. I'm not saying there should be competition, but I think if you made some video game developer wants to see if you can try to get some kind of, not necessarily trademark, but get some rights to showing NFL teams or whatever, I would take the chance just to see if you can't at least make it hard, or make EA and Madden, the people who make it, just take a little more effort into making the game.
Right.
Because I haven't gone 23 yet. I'll probably only get it because Brian and I are going to play it.
I don't know if I'll get 23. I really only got 22 because to play you guys.
Yeah.
That's
kind of like us with 2K. I haven't got the only reason why I got 2K was because of playing you guys, and I haven't gotten 2K since. So I completely understand.
The last one I got was 21. I actually can score. So I know the huge reason why we enjoy 2K20 more is because you can score. You're more likely to score, which helps us. In 2K21, I can actually score. Obviously not as well as 20, because 20 you can actually make like a half court shot with some players. 21 you can't. It's it's pretty tough.
Like, it seems like for some reason, and I can kind of get it, but not really, but they're trying to get the competition of online gaming and trying to get into that. And so whenever they make updates to these games, they make it for the online or like Ultimate Team.
Right.
Kind of thing. Not for the game itself. They make minor changes for like franchise or like be a pro mode or something like that. But that's really it.
One of my biggest issues with Madden, actually, you just mentioned be a pro. They have the face of the franchise, and really, like, they have a cool storyline and everything, but at the same time, it's only based around like QB, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah. And then when you don't do that, when you do create a whatever player, you pick your own
if you do a franchise, but to be a player or whatever, you have to choose your team. You can't
even randomize it. You just have to pick, which
that's when Madden just kind of took me off, because I hadn't gotten a Madden game. I didn't even get 21. Mitch had it already downloaded on the Xbox.
Yeah.
I hadn't gotten it at Madden games since, I'll be 100% honest, probably Madden 25. And that came out like 2013, 2014.
Really Madden 13.
Yeah.
That's also the really stupid thing, is the fact they call it Madden 25.
Yeah, which I understood because it was the 25th anniversary of it.
Yeah, but it's somewhat of a big milestone, but it's like 50 is a bigger milestone than 25. I would get, but.
Yeah. But there's like so many little things that they could do to make it better.
And they just don't.
And I think we've talked about a little bit here on podcasts, I think slightly, but definitely off podcast. The one thing I loved about the early mid 2000s games that they came out for Be a Pro is that they put the combine in there for when you made it. There was the option to be agent. You could have an agent that could represent you and everything. You would start off with like kind of like crappy agent because you're no one, but you could fire him and hire someone else, kind of thing. Like it made it fun.
There's even one. I remember like we had it was like Madden like 2K5 or I think like Brian Urlacher was on the cover or something like that.
Yeah, because 2K made football games for a while too.
Yeah, and on one of those games that we had, you actually as a prospect, you actually had to take like a football test, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, like there were little things like that made it cool. I liked because I'm weird. I like the create a team, create a player kind of thing. So for me, I like that because in those ones you could create the team, but you can also kind of create the stadium a little bit. Like you can either make it a dome, you can make it outdoors, you can make it turf, grass, whatever.
Anything like that is so cool, and that's also what I love about MLB The Show because they reintroduced that idea last year, and this year I'm finally able to do it for the first time. And I tried it for like 2 minutes. The controls are a little funky doing it on just a controller. I haven't figured out like how to properly do it yet. I might have to look up a tutorial, but it's still like the fact that you can make your own baseball team. That's
it's cool. Awesome. Like that. Keep the cool things in there.
Yes.
Don't kind of cheap out just to try to build up your online kind of presence or whatever.
So I think because and it goes
there's
for
also online
games, like sports games. Imagine the amount of fans that would love their games more. They spend as much time focused on online stuff as they did for offline.
Exactly, because a lot of the people who are playing Madden are maybe doing what we do. What they may play online to play some random person, or they'll play a friend online, like us.
Yeah,
or you're gonna be in the same place playing someone.
Where I don't even play anyone online except for you guys because it's not as fun because I know I'll get shredded for Madden.
Right. But like that's the only reason why I would ever want to play it online. The Ultimate Team, it was interesting at first, the trading cards and all that, but I never cared. I didn't care enough for it.
I really didn't. It's never been my thing. They do for every video game for sports games, and it's not my thing.
No. The cool thing about I think because it's still my favorite sports video game with MLB The Show, at least, is that whenever you could get a card, you could occasionally get like like an equipment or whatever they can put to your person.
Actually use.
Yeah, it's something you can actually use, not just online or whatever.
When you're not going to use it.
There's definitely a bunch of gripes. The one gripe I would really hope they'd fix, but I'm pretty certain I haven't gotten Madden 23 yet. There's two things I'm confident will still be glitches in the game. One, because it's just a staple of every EA sports game except for UFC, because they can't change players, but change it to the wrong fucking person.
Yeah. Or not even when you're pressing, changing a player, it takes some extra time to actually change it.
Yeah.
But still,
and no coin toss to start a game. You can do a coin toss in overtime. The fact that you can't do it at the beginning of the game makes no sense. And to put it again, bring Brian back into this, and the hundreds of times Brian and I have played together since 22's come out since September.
Yeah, I think he's kicked off about less than 5 times.
Against me?
Yeah.
He's kicked off once.
Yikes.
And there's times where we've played 4 times, 2, 3, 4 times, somewhere around there. I've sent game invites. He sent game invites every time. And I mean, I'm the one that takes advantage of it. So good for me, but it's still annoying. And it's the one thing that really annoys him the most is because and the most of the times, and he said it many times in this podcast, is the fact that in order at times for him to win, just because of how I play or whatever, he has to put up at least 21 points in the first half.
Yeah. And that's already, and I'll put this way, he's obviously good at Madden, but it's imagine it, someone like me who isn't as good at all, where you have that luck, where you need every opportunity to score and you don't get that first opportunity.
Yeah. Or that opportunity was like, okay, this game could change now, even though the game's kind of in this person's favor. You gain the second half, like, okay, I can get it here and maybe the tides can turn. Brian doesn't have that response, that ability. 21, it was a little more even in terms of us kicking off. 22, for some reason, nothing for some reason. It's always me. I don't know why. It just is. So that's one thing I really hope they'd put in, is just bring back coin toss like you used to, because at least that way it's a little fairer in terms of who gets the ball.